I don't even have nothing with me. All right. Completely. Uh, well, got to get it in. How y'all doing? For those of y'all that hung around waiting for us, welcome to This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Today, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be touching back base on those high value men, and we're going to be talking about how that makes it bright. I'm gleaming right now, but we're going to be talking about the high value men and their expectations and partners. Um, Before we get started, remember to like and subscribe, join a membership. If you're here on TikTok, you can click the link down below on the bottom left side, and it'll take you over to YouTube where you can hit the subscribe button and then come back over to TikTok. Everybody else that's already been coming, you guys can click the link in the comment section if you're on YouTube or Twitch, and you'll be able to click the link if you want to jump in onto the show. And then we can speak in real time. Everybody else that's on Twitch, you can request to get in from the comment section, and you'll be able to speak in real time. Yeah, we kind of got it. Kind of got it all under control. Make sure that you guys take a look at our merchandise stores. We got a lot of stuff up there that's in that merchandise. You guys got discounts on the merchandise based on the tiers of the membership. If you join the membership on YouTube, we have affiliate merchandise on every channel, on every item, show listing. So take a look at that. You got different episodes, promote different stuff, including today's episode if you're looking at us from YouTube. So there's that. We've got a lot of responses that I got to deal with from the fans. It's got me coming to show up late. I'm telling you, it's when burnout sets in on doing these podcasts, I tell you, this is a really hard job to do. Like some people don't give podcasters their weight in salt, but this is definitely a challenging thing to do. But let's go ahead and dive into the discussion for today. Oh yeah, we got some pretty nifty comments I gotta take time to go and respond to on the TikTok platform. So so the high value men that typically are being overlooked. First of all, we need to be really addressing the difference between a high valued man and a high status man. Because a high status man is going to be a man that has a higher level of resources that all the women are going to be after, because women are looking for that financial stability. But a man of higher value is going to be the one that they want when they're tired of chasing the man of high status that's not treating them the way they want to be treated. And the higher valued man is going to bring the stability that you need. He's going to bring the companionship, the love and affection, the loyalty, the monogamy in most cases that you're looking for. And this is going to be the long-standing relationship that you've been yearning for, that you've kind of put onto the back burner in order to obtain all of your otherworldly desires. And this higher valued man that is typically overlooked, because men of value are going to typically be overlooked. And we would then have to recognize that after the men of value have been overlooked, because they're typically written off as broke or stingy. But these are the men that are more fiscally responsible. They budget better. they're actually more able to come through in a pinch, and they have it to provide to you, and they're not going to be short in an emergency. They're going to be able to hold you down. These higher value men are men that are looking for true partners, people that are going to bring it in and be an equal partner or a balanced partner where they're reciprocating to some magnitude to you in the relationship where they otherwise were not receiving that companionship outside of the relationship they're looking for from you. So we decided to do a show today where it's like, well, let's really tap that high valued man on the shoulder. For one, good job. And for two, stick to those non-negotiable expectations for behavior, because you have to make sure that as a high value man, as a man of higher value, you have to stick to those non-negotiable expectations for behavior, because you're going to have those individuals that will come to you and attempt to utilize those resources without reciprocating, without bringing in their worth to deserve the resources that they're getting for you. And since we have those people who do believe that their level of attraction is all they need to qualify as a valuable person, when looks fade, and it fades rapidly, we have to make sure that they're bringing more to the table than just looks and sex. So while we're talking about that, we want to talk about exactly what higher value men are actually looking for in a partner. And ironically, we typically start most nights 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. Today was a little bit later. We kind of teed off. I was dealing with a lot more burnout than normal, because burning the candles at both ends, almost 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, between the podcast and other things. And I got to tell you, it wears you down. It wears you down. But being able to stick to it 7 days a week, got to get it in, got to get it through, and always here. So some of y'all look forward to it. I appreciate that. And for those of y'all that love the debates, this is why I come. This is why I'm dedicated to the cause, by hook or by crook. I'm always in here, just not always in here exactly at the top of the hour. But life happens, things change. And when life happens and things change, men of value are still able to come through in a pinch. But it is a lot more difficult to come through in a pinch when you're spreading yourself too thin. And that's one of the things that higher value men typically end up having to do when they're dealing with financial constraints. Having a good partner that is able to come in and make sure that some of the things that need to be taken care of around the way are being conquered, so that the man isn't spread so thin. Because he's not just spread thin financially, he's spread thin physically, because he has to be at work on multiple jobs. He's got other obligations he has to tend to, meetings and stuff to that effect. And then if he's got children, he's got to deal with what's going on in the kids' lives. All of these things are all requirements to sometimes in-person engagement. And that requires the guy to show up all day, show up all night. And you got to ask yourself, well, if there's a 1 to 2 hour gap in between every engagement, and he's got like 20 engagements out of 24 hours, when is this guy sleeping? Usually not. And like I say, that's when burnout sets in. And firm firsthand experience of it, that burnout sets in. And all it takes is to turn that alarm clock off one time and say, you know what, I'm gonna wait till the next one hits and sleep through the next one. And hey, it is what it is. It's exhausting. But You guys deserve your rest. And matter of fact, I gotta get in on that, to be real. Because as higher value men, we work ourselves to the bone, we grind and we scrape, and we're always after the next, trying to build ourselves up to a higher status if we haven't already reached higher status. Because there are very valuable men that are low status or moderate status that will still give it their all. And those men are not respected or valued by the average woman. And that is something that probably should change. But until it does, we got to focus on grinding and getting money up. Keep getting your money up. And even when you're getting your money up, once you reach a certain level, you have to keep going to keep your money up. So it's never a dull moment. Like the rich do not get good night's sleep. They're up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning making money moves while everyone else is still asleep. You know, the ones that got good night's sleep, they slept halfway through the day. Most of the important things out of the day has already been taken care of. So I can tell you that when you have that person who can be up all night long taking care of business while you're asleep, and then be up most of the day while you're awake looking at him, and he's giving you the attention and the energy and the positive vibes that you need, and then tiptoeing around and segueing back to the things that he needs to do on the back end. These are the people that will give you what you're looking for and still be able to make it to where you would prefer for them to be. And I'm just going to be serious. Like in these stronger relationships, look at that. Wayne one, good to see you, brother. It's hard for us men with value to be able to get in there and try to make sure that we're finding that special person. And we can't really call ourselves trying to find that special person right off the bat when our priorities are skewed. So when we're looking at men of value and we're looking at what we expect to see out of the individuals that we want to consider our partners, we're looking for that person that's going to kick out. We're looking for that person that's going to, and kicking out doesn't mean financial kicking out. Kicking out means that you're going to show up and you're going to put in some effort. You're going to show and you're going to put in some work. We're going to make this successful together. So you're not just going to sit there and watch me struggle by myself. You're going to get in here. You're going to see what I'm struggling on, and you're going to try to figure out how you can get in there and aid me in the struggle. And that doesn't mean that, you're going to look at all my bills and see how many bills you can catch. That'd be nice. But really, if I've got the finances, but, other stuff around the way it need to be taken care of, because it's not just the stuff at the house, but typically men immediately look at the men that are leaving the house all the time grinding and coming back to the house don't have the energy to take care of the house. That's the first thing that goes undone in a man's life. And that's why men quickly tier to the aid in the house, because the man is not going to have the energy to take care of the stuff around the house. He might keep his laundry clean, but he might not have the energy to fold up his laundry and everything like that, because he's burning his candles at both ends. The man has to put forth the effort to make sure that all of the bills are paid, but if he's working 18, 20 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, especially during business days, he might not be awake, or he might not be off from work when those bills are due. So unless he's going to take a lunch break or something like that, and try to pay the bills by phone, it's going to be hard for him to get the bills done, which is one of the reasons why auto pay became a big thing. But it's always good to better balance the budget instead of leaving a bunch of money in the bank account and just hoping that everybody takes their share out. It makes a lot more sense to have somebody managing that and making sure that the right amounts are going to the right places. And being a good partner in a relationship is being capable of making sure that the money is going to all the right places. And that means that we as men have to be able to trust our women with the income. And men cannot trust women with money these days. Not because the women don't know how to count. It is because some of the women, not all of them, some of the women like to take a little extra off the top and put it off to the side so that when they break up with the dude, they're financially stable. That's a pretty fucked up mentality to have. But if you know what you're getting into when you start dating a chick, you know the difference between one that's going to siphon money out of your bank account versus one that's really going to make sure the stuff's getting taken care of. Those good women from back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s, where you hand up your whole paycheck and they just took care of stuff. You might keep a little bit of spending money out of the money, but they would hand you the rest of the money to make sure that the bills were taken care of. And true, while women don't believe this, but back in those days, those better quality women back in those days would take care of all of the expenses around the house, buy what needs to be bought, and make sure that the man had everything that he needed. And then the man would come back to the house and potentially ask the woman if he needed something extra outside of what he already had put money aside for. He would come back and ask his woman back in those days if there was any money available for him to spend money on something else when there were expensive purchases that need to be made that was outside of the man's spending money value. He would communicate that with his wife so that she would know that this is something that he wanted to buy or something that needed to be bought, and she would budget to make sure that the money was there to get that bought. But she's not the one that's out there grinding 9 to 5s to be able to bring him the money. She's the one that's counting up the money and putting a little money off to the side for whatever it is he said that he wanted to go get or whatever he said he needed to do. And then once enough money is there, she'd be able to tell him, hon, oh, we could go get the car fixed, or we could go buy a new car, or we could go do X, Y, and Z because we have enough money now. Oh, we do? And then he'll be able to go and take care of it because he's not thinking about it. He's just grinding and finding other ways to bring in more money. This turns into a higher value couple. So when we're looking for that old fashioned traditional value where she's not looking out for herself, she's looking out for both people in the relationship, and he is dedicated to both people in the relationship. They're both dedicated to the entire family, not an individual in the family. That higher value expectation is something that we have come to find is hard to find, because nowadays we actually have more women that are more focused on their own personal looks and adding that to the overhead. And we don't even know if if light bills need to be paid but her hair needs to be done. We don't know if she's going to get the lights done or if she's going to look attractive in the dark. Her hair and nails got to get done. So and it doesn't, the extra nails is just something that she likes to look at for herself. It doesn't make her more attractive. It actually really long Cruella de Vil kind of evil, wicked stepmother kind of fingernails. It's not attractive at all. It is actually the opposite of attractive. Anything over an inch past the finger is atrocious, to be honest with you. But women think that it looks cute for them to have 12-inch fingernails. A man's opinion of 12 and 13-inch and 24-inch fingernails is the average common American's opinion of 30-inch rims on a Honda Civic. Stupid. Okay. So take that for what it's worth. Now, when we start talking about the hair, we understand that women want to make themselves look beautiful. They got the hair going down the back, the braids, the extensions, the lace fronts. Florida Evans had just the hair on top of her head. Her hair is probably about as long as mine right now. And she didn't have all them extra wigs and all the other stuff on it. She had grays and all. She didn't do dye. She didn't have perms and stuff. She came through with what she needed to come through to make sure that her husband had what he needed. And that's some of the things that we expect from our women to be more natural. I see Jay. Hold on, guys. Jay. Jay. What's going on, buddy?
What's happening? What are we talking about today, guys? I just wanted to join in live just for having. You guys sounded like you're having a good discussion.
Oh yeah, we have a good discussion 7 days a week, Jay. We were talking about higher value man and the things that we look for when we're looking for that better woman. That's a nice house you got there, Jay.
Yeah, thanks. My hair's not looking too good today, though.
Oh, that's all right.
Bad hair day for us.
I got a flat top with headphones on, so I got curls and everything going on here. So it's all right. Okay. It's all right.
Yeah, it looks a little. It's just sunset right now here. It's pretty nice.
That's it. You did real good for yourself. See, this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That higher value man that comes in.
This is Airbnb. This one, man.
Yeah. Oh, so that's not yours, or that's one that you're.
Yeah, we're just
visiting that one.
We're just hanging. We're having a vacation, at the end of the summer here.
That still, most people can't afford vacations. You budgeted your money. You were able to take the family out to go somewhere important. You was able to get your really nice place to go.
Yep, and this is my son here. This is my son. He doesn't want to.
Hey, we got the young guys. Got the family out there. This is what we talk about, guys. Those family men that are able to take good care of their kids, take care of their families, and they're able to come through.
My pants, it smells disgusting.
That's okay. Don't worry, we'll edit that part out on the live broadcast. We have all kinds of stuff that comes in. So we were talking about higher value men. So you've got a good family there, Jay. So Jay,
it smells disgusting.
I got a good question for you, Jay. Real question, Jay. You ready for it? So, well, hold on. Jay disappeared on us. It looks like just his son is here.
I pooped in my pants. It smells disgusting. I pooped in my pants.
So the kid was having a good time, but we were going to talk to Jay, but apparently Jay's not up there anymore. So Jay's son is up there. Either way, characters. But Jay comes through. The adult comes through, and then the kid decides to jump onto the podcast. But the adults come through, and we were talking about high value men. And as you can see, Jay was able to come in and talk about how he's taking his family out on a vacation, how he's out there entertaining the loved ones with a family trip. This takes good planning. This takes good strategy. And these are some of the things that we look for in a podcast. Is we look for those higher value men, those men of status not just the men of status, the higher value men, the diamonds in the rough, the ones that grind hard and work hard to make things work, to get things going. We try to bring those guys forward if we can, so that they'll be able to come in and tell us, what did you guys see in higher valued women? You know what I'm saying? The women of value, the women that you chose, the women that you marry and turn into the mother of your kids. And typically we look at those men that are looking for those partners, those people who contribute, those people who kick out, by providing us with those remedial tasks, the things that we don't get to experience on a regular basis, because we have things that we have to do that requires us to be gone from the house for long periods of time. And when we come back to the house, expecting peace in the house. And we don't get that peace in the house. We typically get a lot of unrecognized chaos in the wrong relationships. And since we're choosing the wrong relationships, we have to reassess our position. And we actually have to recognize ourselves as valuable men when we are trying to work ourselves in as higher value men. So we need to be able to pull ourselves together, and we need to be able to discuss what are those values that we're trying to accomplish? What are those goals that we're trying to maintain? And I feel like, we would prefer more. And I know that there are a lot of men that agree with us that we prefer more those women that are going to make sure that they find ways to improve the man's ability to be successful. And that's one of those things that we don't see every day. We don't see the men that are coming in that are, grinding tooth and nail, that are trying to make things more successful. We actually just see the success after the fact. It takes us a lot of effort. It takes us a lot of energy to bring it in and get things done. But unfortunately, the effort is not seen anymore. As higher value men, we're more often than not seeing we're more often than not seeing if we're not bringing in enough of the finished product, that the thought that counts doesn't matter anymore. The position of those individuals that have to come in and do that extra work behind the scenes and grind in order to make things work, they're not going to do that, be recognized for that. And since they're not being recognized for that, that's one of the issues that we have as those moderate to high value men, is that, we are going to see that grind, but the spotlight's going to be on everyone else. So as that diamond in the rough, as that person that definitely puts the metal to the grindstone here, we typically like to look for better behavior where our partners are actually being partners, our partners are actually being cooperative. And that's some of the things that we haven't really gotten a grasp on. And when men are chasing sex as a prize, we're not actually chasing the right factors, because specifically we're looking at if sex is a prize, we're looking at, well, we'll do whatever it takes, we'll spend whatever it costs, and then once we get to where we're going, we're not actually getting a better result. We're actually ending up getting a situation where we're not satisfied, because once we've achieved the sex, when sex is a prize, we're not fulfilled in any other way, because there isn't anything else that is being brought to the table beyond that sex that we were looking for. And that's one of the things that we try to bring to the show, is changing your mentality and changing your scope as a moderate to higher value man would actually benefit you more, because you would be able to bring to the table a lot more than what you would be bringing in if you had higher values. So higher values and higher standards would get you a lot further. And we try to encourage that. We try to encourage those people to change your values, change your opinions, change your ambitions, change your expectations, and potentially seek something that is going to benefit you a little bit more than just riding it out and then trying to riding it out and then bringing it into trying to make it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to how do I put this? Woo! The Last Fan. I tell you, when they come in, like when the adults come in, it's like I didn't turn the camera off quick enough, because we've got the adult only platform, and then we have the kids jump in, and then when the kids jump in, they're just enthusiastic that they're able to be on a live podcast, and they're not supposed to be jumping into the live podcast. And when they jump onto the live podcast, they start inappropriate behavior, because negative attention is what gives them what they're looking for. And when they get on there with the negative attention, then we have to filter that stuff out. So gonna be doing some editing after the show, but Jay is going to be one of our shorts, so plus and a minus. How do I put it? Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. That says one clink. Didn't even know that was there. Taylor suggestions. What? Did that just clean things up a little bit for me? I wasn't expecting that. Well, I'll be gosh dog. Hey, TikTok just updated a feature in the middle of the live broadcast. Who would have thunk it? Click the button and it just kind of and the whole screen kind of cleared up a little bit more. Oh wait, it took away our hyperlink. That's not good. Got to put that link back up there. Nope, don't need that. Well, we'll get it. We'll get it after the show. it eliminated one of our links that we had to the other podcast, but oh, that's what it did. Oh, is there a return to the norm kind of thing? Yeah. So hold on, y'all. We have to come back and figure out what just happened with that one. Nope, we don't need that. Add that source back. There it is. That's what we need to put back in there. Add that source back. So I guess we had clicked the button and it was supposed to be cleaning up the screen, and when it cleaned up the screen, it disseminated the original hot link to the podcast, which in a way not that big of a deal, but in a way it kind of is, because I like for you guys to be able to have full access to the podcast from everywhere, including our YouTube links. So I like to give you guys the opportunity to go to our featured page if you haven't already subscribed to our featured page, and then be able to click the link on the feature page and be able to subscribe. So since that's the case, we typically like to provide it for you. There it is. And then throw it back in the corner there. There it is. Boom. So now that we got it back in the bottom left corner there, now you're able to jump in whenever you guys like. And then it cleaned it up again and moved this over here. Okay, so let's move this back down here. Okay. We're kind of getting in there. So let me see that they moved the chat box down. It did a lot of stuff I wasn't expecting them to do. I clicked the button and it just really, it did a lot to the page that I wasn't expecting it to do. That's different, y'all. I don't know. This is kind of like a prototype prototype podcast today. We were supposed to be really getting into those heartfelt discussions, and Jesus, gotta do some page maintenance during the middle of the podcast. You know, there we go. Anybody who's a podcaster know what it's like. You kind of gotta do what you gotta do to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. It's a little bit better now. And now you can see the subscriber goals a lot better. It works itself out. Either way, when we're dealing with men of higher value, like we were originally discussing on the podcast, we are playing to the tune of men that want that partner that has respect for them, that appreciates them and values them, that motivates them and inspires them. So when a man is looking for someone to motivate and inspire them, that man is typically looking into trying to get someone to bring that peace and bring that prosperity into their, well, not just their prosperity, but bring the peace into the man's life so that the man is capable of bringing in the prosperity. Because we have to understand that men actually do not prefer that women bring in. They don't mind it. We don't object to it. No man is going to object to women making money. But the thing is that we don't expect women to make money for us. There are some that are still in the modern adult industry that are like, get out there and make my money. But most men, they make their own, and they have been fine-tuned to making their own. So they don't look for a woman to make their own for them. And here's an interesting dynamic. I just want to ask this question real quick. For you independent boss ladies that feel like you can make your own money, you can do your own, be your own success story, right? My question is, what do you look for in a man if the man is not there to provide for you because you claim or you are fully capable of giving yourself everything that you want and need besides the companionship? What do you look for in a man? Because typically we experience that the more successful a woman is, the more successful she expects the man to be. So a $75,000 or $100,000 a year woman is going to more expect a man to make double her income. And with that being said, if you are able to take care of it yourself, why are you looking for a man that's able to replace you with taking care of it? But then you're still going to expect yourself to be the authority in the relationship, even when you have chosen to date up and date a man that makes more than you, where he's paying for 2/3 of whatever needs to be compensated for in the relationship. He's providing 2/3 of the resources that are needing to be maintained in the relationship. Why is it that he's putting up so much more if you can get it on your own, but you choose to be the alpha in the relationship? You choose to dominate the man in the relationship. And while the women are thinking about that and marinating on that question, because there's going to be a lot more of these questions to come, we're going to discuss the fact that a man that gets a woman that has the same income as him or more is not always going to be that man that women believe is intimidated and negatively emotionally distressed about it. Because if I find a female real estate agent that's drawing back a couple $100K, I'm a podcaster, bro. I'm gonna record her doing what she does. I might not record the hidden secrets behind the show, but walk around with a video camera with her doing what she does. Flip it, make extra cash off of it. You get paid watching her sell houses. She gets paid because she sells houses. A man will find a way to make it work. And if she's doing what she loves and she's doing what she wants to do, a man will find a way to make it work. And that's really one of the things that we have to recognize, is that if you've got a good man, if you've got a moderately to high value man, and a woman has a dream, a vision, and ambition, a lot of men actually invest in that. Whatever it is that you want to do, modern day men are not going to say you can't do that. We just say that women have a very, very poor attitude once they become successful. So if you're trying to go to college to become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, oh yeah, I'm your best man from the day that you go to college up until the day that you become partner in that CEO company. But once you start making 3 times more than me, then the woman starts talking down to the man as if the man is not really worth anything. When the man paid for her education to get there, the man helped her find a job, the man gave her pointers on how she could work her way up the company in order for her to become that partner. So the man is doing the things that a man would want a wife to do, but then the girlfriends that we're finding, the women that are not worth girlfriends that we're finding, that are not actually putting forth any of the effort that it takes to get that same result out of their man. Now, these women, once they make it to where they're trying to go, these are the women that then turn around and say that the man ain't worth it because the man isn't doing enough. He's not contributing enough. These are the type of women that embarrass the men in public because the man has to pay for more than what he budgeted for. And these are the type of men that are going to end up dealing with a lot more stress and a lot more hardships from that particular type of engagement. So it is highly ridiculous that, yes, we are looking for more valuable and more qualified women to do the things that we want to do. But we also have to deal with, when we're searching through all of the single women, and you got to remember that the women that are not of value, the ones that are not girlfriend material, the ones that are not wife material, are clearly going to be single. So there's going to be more non-valuable women that are single than there are going to be valuable women single. And they're going to be single men that are waiting for a valuable woman that are not in a relationship. So the dynamic is going to be skewed to a massive magnitude, because you have the men that are worth being husbands that aren't rich, that women don't want because they're not rich, sifting through the women that are not worth relationships to try to find women that are worth relationships. And there are a lot of women out there that are worth relationships. And though there are women out there that are worth marriage, but it is hard to find the women that are out there that are worth relationships, that are worth marriage, because you run across plenty of them that are not worth relationships and that are not worth marriage, because you can't tell one from another outside of by the way they dress and how they talk. So you actually have to get in there and you have to interact with them and you have to weigh the odds. And then you have to come to determine that based on her dialogue and her behavior and the way that she carries herself with her style of dress and her intriguing intellect, if she has any, that this may be a woman of value. When she starts becoming a helper, when she starts showing you helper abilities from the beginning, she starts showing you value. When she starts working her way into pulling weight in ways that you didn't ask her to pull, that starts showing you that this is a helper. When you are looking at a person that is actually going to get in there and fix problems as problems occur. If a pipe busts at the house while you're at work, she gets a plumber to come and fix it. She doesn't just sit there and let the water run all over the place. She doesn't just sit there and twiddle her hands when problems arise. She's not going to be the kind of woman that's going to have you carrying all the heavy stuff. She's going to try to carry something. She might even grab the door for you because you can't see because you're carrying all the heavy stuff. She's not going to just sit there and watch you suffer as a man and then just say, oh, where's my cut because I'm your girlfriend. She's going to be the person that's going to make sure that she fills in the blanks. If the ship is sinking, you're not the only person bailing us out. She's going to bail you out. She's going to help you get out of that bind. She's going to come up with alternative ways. A woman that leads from the rear, a valuable woman that's going to lead from the rear, is going to allow the man to lead so that she can look for another way. That's something that modern women don't think about. They want to be in charge. They want to be on the front lines. They want to be the leader that drags the team forward. And you got to understand that if you're the person on the front lines, you're the first person to take a hit. You're not dragging the team forward. Leading from the rear, you are pushing the team forward where you're able to see what's going on from all angles. And you're able to aid them in their success, putting in as much effort as is needed. Not putting in all the effort, waiting for someone to bring in more effort, which is a big difference between the two. And if women understand that leading from the rear will give you a lot more peace and tranquility in your relationships instead of leading them in from the front, where you're telling them what to do, telling them where to go, forcing them to follow your lead, you're not going to get the. If you have a submissive man, which Sigma men and alpha men are not that submissive. We're cooperative. We're negotiable, but we're not really submissive. And there's going to come a point in time in those relationships where Sigma men and alpha men are going to just have to let you go because this is just not working. They're going to get frustrated and short-tempered, and they're going to be very distant and cold and then pretty much drop you off anywhere because it is not going to work for them. But for you ladies that are trying to get in there and be that leader, you have to understand that you would be more successful if you led from the rear, because the man would be able to dictate terms. He'd be able to figure out what's going on. He would be able to come up with a plan. You are able to then analyze that plan, and then you're able to discuss with him about the flaws in that plan and come up with an alternative solution that he would be more willing to implement. You're able to look at the success levels of the attempts that are being made, and then instead of you just telling them what to do, you can show him that there's an easier way and let him do the easier way. You know, instead of you being the one that's going to argue with the man about how to get stuff done, you let him do it the way he wants to do it. And then if you bring up the rear and you go and find another way, find an easier way that he's not willing to do, and you're not going to undermine him to get it done. But if it's not done and there's a deadline, you make sure that it meets the deadline. If the bills are supposed to get paid and they aren't paid yet, you make sure that those bills get paid. Then when he comes back with, you know, I couldn't do it, don't worry about it, hon, it's already done. That's being a partner. That's leading from the rear. But cussing your man out, talking about some, you should have already paid for this, blase squase, taking the money and going to get your hair and nails did, and now the lights are about to get cut off, and now dude's got to borrow money from a friend or Amscot or something like that so that he can go and cover a bill because he put up the money for the bill, but the bill didn't get paid, but stuff got bought. You know, that is not a helper. That's not a partner. You know, and we have to understand that priorities are clearly highly important. But if we're not prioritizing those priorities, if we recognize that these are things that needs to be focused on, and these are things that need to be done, and these are not things that are being focused on or done, we need to understand that we have to redirect our attention into making that happen. So with that being said, I want you guys to make sure that y'all like and subscribe. I want y'all to join the membership. If you haven't joined the membership, you guys that are popping in on TikTok, follow us. If you guys that are popping in on Twitch, make sure you follow us. You guys that are coming in on YouTube, as you see, Doll Podcast, we had Jay up here earlier tonight. We're going to take time out of our evening and make us a nice little show about Jay, nice little short about Jay. So positive, might I add, because him and his family, he took his family out to an Airbnb, and this is the kind of things that we look for with moderate to high value men, that they come to the podcast and they're able to get in and have them a good time. And we could talk about things of value and things of reference. He looks like he might actually be in a stock market kind of job, or a computer tech kind of job, investor kind of job. If you are, Jay, make sure you come back and tell us what your occupation is, and we could probably talk about business and finance at some point. So definitely want to throw that out there. However, what I want to do, because we have to get in and get some edits done to pack it into this show, is I want to kind of bring things to a little bit of a head here. Red Void just jumped in. I see you, my guy. I appreciate you. Every time it just shows me that you're here. It shows me that you're here, and I really appreciate that. A lot of the fans that come into the podcast, we have some very loyal fans that show up, and we really appreciate you guys. Red Void is one of them. Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma, coming in from Twitch side of the fence. And for the rest of you that are coming in from YouTube side of the fence, and then those of you that are coming in from TikTok side of the fence, we're going to be getting Twitter back in here. We had Twitter in here for a brief period. We're going to be getting Twitter back in here pretty soon. I just got to balance the budget to get Twitter back in here, because you know, the podcasting isn't free. It's a full-time gig. If you're really going to dedicate yourself to it, it's a full-time gig. You got to put in a lot of work and a lot of effort to get things done, and then you've got to try to redirect a lot of your fans to getting back to the live podcast. So and it looks like Jay's son is in. That is well, Smith's iPad is here. it's a really interesting day. So actually, we're gonna start getting some verifications coming. That's what's gonna end up happening. Either way, yeah. Since we kind of went through the bulk of the meat and potatoes on the situation, and like I said, I got to do a little bit of editing on the back end now. I just want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe, join the membership, and Red Void. We're going to be doing 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. What time would that be in Romania? 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. kind of thing for you. We're going to be coming in and doing a longer haul tomorrow night. That I was operating on burnout tonight. I got to tell you, got started with the podcast a little bit late. It did turn out for the best. We had at least a handful of people that came into the podcast. One of them was responsible till the sun jumped up. Here's the thing, Red. Guy comes in, he's talking about his Airbnb, and then his kid comes in, and then his kid starts going nuts. And that's one of the reasons why we don't have kids on the podcast, because kids aren't going to come in and be appropriate. So we have to fizzle out. I got a question for you, Red, and you can let me know what you think about it. You know, if you were able to take your girlfriend and your wife out onto a vacation, a summer home, where would you go? Would you take them to a nice villa? Would you take them to a hotel, or would you just do something local, like bring them to a beach and hang out on a vacation and stuff to that effect? That's a good starting point to kind of get in there. And while he decides on putting up an answer for that, I want you guys to give that special thanks for our fans across the world, because we are a growing podcast, and we are a worldwide growing podcast. We want to show some love to those people that are in Russia, Vietnam, United Kingdom, India, Germany. We've got South Africa, Mexico, Australia, Canada, Philippines, and Romania. Probably should have Romania somewhere towards the top, but we have a larger followership, and we kind of put them in sequence by the larger masses of followers, as opposed to the quantity of loyal followers that come to the live podcasts on a daily basis. I could always reorganize those for the sake of the participants, but we just show love based on the statistics as to how many are actually showing up and coming in. So yeah. Then we have the top 5 in the United States. We gave our special thanks to our fans that are across the board. Oh yeah, that's right. It's supposed to be putting your alt up there from YouTube. Didn't do that. We actually have more than 5. We put up our top 5, but Georgia bounces back and forth between North Carolina and Illinois. And then we have New York, Florida, California, and Texas. So technically, we kind of got like a top 10 list that I should be putting up there. But we don't have a full 10. We have like 8. Because if I put up North Carolina and Georgia, we'd have 7. So I could throw up one extra state, and then we wouldn't have a rotation, So, but we really appreciate everybody that's coming in. And one of the things I've said before is that as we get bigger, we're going to be looking forward to traveling and being able to, when we travel, go and visit some of the cities and countries and states where our top fans are visiting us. And we'd be able to, give them a notice that, hey, we're popping into your town, we're popping into your country, and hopefully we can pass by and do a podcast together. That'll be one of those things that we will be doing for the fans coming soon. So it will be, it's coming. It's coming. Once we start the tour, it's going to keep flowing. We just got to get up there. We're actually trying to meet a specific followership rate before we get started. And once we reach that followership rate, we will be able to start going on tours, and we'll be able to start doing those travels, those commutes, and everything will work itself out where you guys will get to see us. And we'll be able to bring the show dogs. You'll be able to see us pretty much everywhere. But like I was saying, I was about to wrap things up when we had those interesting turns of events. So while we're wrapping things up, make sure that you guys like and subscribe, as I've said plenty of times before on the podcast. And also, I'm going to let you guys go on TikTok first. But ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask you guys to continue to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And for the rest of you guys that are still on the podcast here, we had a pretty decent come up. Wasn't expecting that. For those of you that are still here watching us on YouTube and Twitch, really appreciate you guys for coming to the podcast. I'm gonna try to have a longer standing podcast coming up, because we have the business and finance podcast in a couple of weeks on Monday. We're going to be talking about the stocks, and we're going to be, well, not just stocks. We're going to be talking about investments, low risk investments. We're going to be talking about those. We're going to be talking about ways that we can go about putting our money where it can work for us, instead of us just holding it back and not getting the bag. We are going to be talking about the better jobs that you guys can find, some low experience jobs that doesn't have higher requirements, but we're going to be talking about also higher paying jobs that are rare, that do pay well, but we're going to be looking at some jobs that don't have such higher requirements, where you will be able to try to find yourself a better occupation if you're still going to be doing one of those blue collar working jobs. And coming up soon, we're going to be talking about how to set up a C corporation, because I know that if you guys were watching the podcast and we were talking about the Project 2025 and how Project 2025 is going to be favoring C corporations and big business, how do you become part of the benefits of the system that will become this country? So kind of want to give everybody all of the details that I can find about it, and enlighten you guys as to better ways to go about setting yourselves up. Those of you that are in foreign countries, I'm going to be doing a little bit of insight on foreign domestic business and how to set that up. And you guys might have to have certain business statuses in your own country, and then you can come and set something up in the United States, or you can just come straight to the United States and set something up. There is criteria involved with that. I'm going to try to figure it out and see if I can cover all the bases of how to establish C corporations in the United States. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. I really appreciate you guys coming in. We try to give us at least an hour podcast. And today I started a lot later than normal, so I was able to dabble closer to the 2 hour limit that we normally have, but it actually only is trickling it up to about an hour right now, because I started massively late, because like I said before, kind of trying to struggle with that burnout, burning candles at both ends. So I want to say again, I really appreciate the fans. I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast every time that you have the opportunity. You guys are much appreciated and highly valued, and we strongly recommend that we see you tomorrow night. The topic that we have for tomorrow night is going to not sure. If you look at our YouTube, we have all the way till the 29th or 30th of September already posted. So I have absolutely no idea which show comes first on our lineup more often than not, until I take the time to go back and look at the lineup that I've already set up. But everything is already pre-scheduled. I did have one time before where I actually aired the wrong show because there were so many of them up there listed. Tomorrow night's show is going to be, do men marry for convenience? So do we marry for convenience instead of marrying for love? That's something that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And cliffhanger, there's a little bit of a lot going on with that particular question. And it's going to kind of play into us looking for partners and looking for partners that are going to be helpers, not partners that are going to be gold diggers and leeches on the ticket. So that's what we've got going on for tomorrow night. So as we've already crossed over our 12,000 subs, I want to subscribers, I want to say really appreciate you guys for helping us out with it. We've crossed over well over 40,000 views. So we are excited about that as well. So thank you guys for that. And we really appreciate you coming to This and That, where we talk about this and that and everything in between. I'm your host, Sander, and I'm going to let you guys go for tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.